With me now, District 4 City Councilor Olivia Clark. Thanks for coming on the program.
My pleasure, Angelica.
So your district includes the west side of Portland and a few neighborhoods in southeast Portland. One of the neighborhoods that you represent is the Pearl District, which is the site of a new overnight homeless shelter. It's at Northwest 15th and Northrop, scheduled to open in September. You attended the town hall last month where residents showed up in force to express their concerns, right? So what do you think about the location of this shelter?
Well, I prefer that it wasn't there, like the neighbors, because the Pearl District has already struggled with the homeless issue for quite a long time. In fact, they've rallied together and formed a conservancy, raised their own money to deal with homelessness. So I really wish that that was somewhere else. But given that it's going to be there, I think the important thing is, and I said this at the town hall meeting, is we have to make sure that the mayor's promise of an engagement zone and all the resources that come with it, you know, graffiti removal, trash removal, enhanced public safety, that those things actually happen.
So one of the arguments we hear from the other side when we talk to people concerned about the location is, why not the Pearl District? We can't all be, I'm sure you're familiar with the term NIMBYs. Why shouldn't it go in the Pearl District when it has, you know, there have been shelters in other parts of the city, North Portland, Southeast?
Well, the Pearl District already has a concentration of affordable housing and low-income people and people on the street. So they've been wrestling with this for a long time. I want to see those shelters in every district, not just my district. We need to make sure there's one in District 1, District 2, District 3, and the day centers that go with them. And the mayor has announced that he's going to open a day center in conjunction with this facility. So that's the good news, that people will have somewhere to go, to get services, shower, get some of the wraparound services. But we're going to spread the wealth. Let's just put it that way.
One of the concerns we've heard from nearby neighbors is that this is a low barrier shelter, meaning there aren't a lot of restrictions. What have you said to the mayor about that? Have you talked with Mayor Wilson about that?
Oh, yes.
What did you tell him?
Well, that I'm cautiously optimistic. I know that this plan, his overall plan, I support, but it's just a first step. And all the things that he's promised come with it have to come with it. Before people leave the shelter in the morning, they have to be given resources. They have to be helped, maybe even transport to the new day center. He's very well aware of my concerns.
Did he say anything that kind of made you feel better about the situation?
He says he will.
Yeah.
He says he will.
So what can be done to help your constituents in the neighborhood feel better about this, like to take away some of the anxiety? Is there anything that can be done?
Well, they have to remain vigilant, and they have to let me know. I've told them, let me know what's happening. If you see a problem, let me know. I'll deal with it. We all have to be vigilant. And you know, there are people that get up every morning, you know this, Angelica, in the Pearl District. They have a poop patrol. They have people that go out and pick up human waste already. There are people in the morning that are patrolling the Pearl District to deal with these issues. So hopefully they'll let me know, they'll stay vigilant.
Do you think the city is moving in the right direction to reduce homelessness and hopefully eventually end homelessness, street camping, all of that?
Right, I think this is just a first step. We just have to get the people off the street. Once there's a bed for people, we can take other measures with the homeless people, particularly people who refuse to go to a shelter.
I know that commercial vacancies are also an issue in District 4. As a member of the City Council, how are you addressing that problem?
I'm just very optimistic, especially with the purchase of the Big Pink, that maybe we've hit bottom now and things are going to start to turn around. We're working really hard in the city to activate the downtown, to bring people downtown. You know, when we get more people downtown, going to the restaurants, Higgins in particular, my former neighbor, we get people downtown, it's going to feel safer, it's going to feel better, and people are going to be more willing to invest in the downtown.
What are some of the other things that you're prioritizing in District 4?
Oh, okay. Well, they're really some of the same issues that I ran on. Number one is public safety. We have to make sure that we can reduce the response time for 911. You know, if I call 911, I want to know that somebody's going to answer it in a reasonable amount of time and that somebody's going to show up for me. So that's a high priority for me, and that means we need more police. I go to every, or as much as I can, I go to the induction ceremonies for the new officers. It's very impressive who's coming, who wants to be a police officer and work in our community. And I think over time, we're just staying even with retirements, but that will improve. So public safety is a huge priority for me. The other thing I will say is asset management. I want to make sure that we're taking care of what we have in this city. And my district has a lot of assets that have been ignored over time, not just the streets, but the fire
Our tax
stations.
base taking off?
No, that's-
Are you worried about that?
Absolutely.
People leaving Multnomah County, wealthier
Absolutely.
residents?
That's part of our budget problem, is the problem in the downtown is the property values have gone down and we're not collecting what we were collecting. So that's a real problem with our budget.
Obviously, Portland has been through a tough time, in some ways still recovering from the events of 5 years ago.
Right.
COVID, protests, an economic downturn, and a rising crime rate. Portland's reputation took a hit nationally. Yes. How would you describe the Portland of summer of 2025?
Fun. There's a staycation coming up at the end of summer. We're encouraging people to stay in town, go to restaurants downtown, go to an event. Just come out and have some fun. I think the streets are definitely feeling a lot better in the downtown. I'm downtown all the time. I think we can move that reputation. We have to move that reputation.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how would you describe the perception versus the reality in Portland?
Well, the New
right
York
now?
Times hasn't helped us very much. You know, we had a long way to fall because we were having a very cool moment before the pandemic. We were at the top of the list for a place to invest, and now we've fallen to the bottom, post all those things that you outlined, Angelica. So I think that we're going to come back, but it's going to take everybody to changing the message. Every organization, every person who has contacts outside of Portland have to talk about how much better it's getting to change that reputation.
Portland's crime rate is showing improvement. What are the public safety concerns that you're hearing about in your district?
Open air drug use is still a problem in different parts of District 4. People are very concerned, particularly around schools. I know that's illegal, but we haven't had the police force to be able to enforce all the laws that are on the books. But I think open air drug use is a really big issue.
As chair of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, what can you tell us about the progress on the replacement of the interstate bridge that connects Oregon and Washington? What's the latest with that?
We're making progress. We just had a presentation in my Transportation Infrastructure Committee, I think it was last week or this week, I can't remember, and we're at about 30% design. We're moving ahead. I've seen some very preliminary designs. I think it's going to be great. I can't wait to ride my bike across the bridge when it's done. But it's moving ahead, and it's different than the last time we did this. There's a lot more community involvement. There's a lot of engagement, particularly from the city of Vancouver. Mayor Ann is doing a great job rallying support for this.
Are you optimistic that the work will begin this year? Or is it next year?
I think it's next year. Yeah, we actually don't start construction until next year. Am I optimistic? Yes, I have to be optimistic. I'm always an optimist.
Right.
But that bridge is so important to our economy. And I don't know if you ever go over there, but it's just a crapshoot how long you're going to have to wait to get to Vancouver.
It doesn't matter
Portland.
if it's rush hour.
It doesn't matter anymore. And plus, that bridge was built on wood pilings.
Yeah.
When you're on the bridge, you can feel it shake.
Yeah.
So if we have an earthquake, it's going down.
Mayor Wilson signed an executive order earlier this month requiring changes to the city's DEI policies to comply with the Trump administration, right? The changes were made to ensure the city's compliance so it can get more than $300 million in federal grants. Do you agree with that decision?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The mayor's in a tough spot. We all are. And we didn't want to lose that money. And in fact, Angelica, we had people that came to my committee to talk about the proposed bus rapid transit on 82nd Street, which is dependent on federal funds. They actually asked us in the committee to remove certain language from that project. So the community groups were actually asking us to do that as well. They want those dollars.
It's good to stand on principle, but not with that much money at stake.
Well, there's no question that we hold those values
Right.
at City Hall.
It just doesn't have to be in writing.
Exactly. They're not going away.
Do you know which programs could be impacted by this?
I think there were some pass-through programs to community organizations. I'm really concerned about what's coming next. With the cuts in Medicaid, the cuts in the SNAP food benefit program. What's happening at the state is going to affect us at the City Hall. So I'm already looking ahead at
That's the
what's
next
coming.
challenge.
The next
yeah.
challenge.
So last year at this time, there were 4 city commissioners and the mayor making decisions for the city. This year, you're one of 12 city councilors. How would you describe the challenge of being a member of a brand new city council, a new city government?
Well, we're feeling our way through it. We have a lot of operational pieces to put in place. I think that the population that voted on this made absolutely the right decision to go to a city manager form of government. We absolutely need to join the rest of the United States in having a city manager form of government. But that's a huge culture change. It's for all the city employees, for us, for the public. What that means, I don't manage a bureau anymore. I'm a policymaker and I oversee the budget. I do have some oversight authority, but it's very nuanced, that relationship, and that culture is just beginning to change.
Lucky you don't manage some bureaus. I'm sure you feel that way all the time. It's a tough enough job
Right,
as it is,
right.
Portland City Councilor Olivia Clark, thank you so much for your time
Thanks
this
for
morning.
having me. I
Great to
appreciate
have
it.
you.